Hi. Hello. It is always a privilege, like I've said, to continue to look at this subject of strategy. And in many ways, strategy is a subject that is beginning to preoccupy a number of scholars, a number of people, a number of those people that are thinking of getting ahead. Those people that are thinking many years ahead, 20 years, 15 years, 25 years, and so forth. Those who go into the future, they have the broader picture. Strategy is something that intrigues them and they want to learn it. But in this section, briefly, we shall look at some of the tactics that those successful organizations and entities employ. Firstly, we have said strategy, those are the avenues, the art of the general, the thoughts, the paths, the ways that we seek to employ to get ahead without much ado. Strategy actually is a pathway. It's a means to an end. It's not a destination. It is a journey. And a strategy ought to be evolving all the time. It ought to be changing all the time, responding to the things that are outside and things that are there. In other words, we're saying if you have a strategy that worked 50 years ago, it was very fantastic. If you bring it into this 21st century, I can assure you, it will be a dismal failure. You will be shocked that that which won the battles yesteryears will be as useless and obsolete in our times. But some of the tactics that some of the great strategists have used, I alluded to Hitler and other people in the past who have been great strategists. You know, if you're going to succeed, if you're going to make it, you must think through the things that you're doing. For instance, if you want to beat your competitors in this market economy, for example, in Zambia, many parastatals wound up after 1991 because they were slow. They assumed that the customers would want to buy the things that they have made. No. We are in a market economy where the customer is king. So if you want to succeed, let me tell you a secret. You must make sure that you are many steps ahead of your competitors. 2 years, 3 years. If it means churning out new products, churn them out at a faster rate than your enemies. Make sure that you are always thinking ahead. You become a trendsetter. You are changing and evolving and ensuring that you are ahead of the pack. And perhaps you cut out a niche for yourself so that people cannot copy you. You must develop certain competences which your enemies don't have. But secondly, the other weapon that you can use as a strategy is that ensure that your products and services are of the highest quality. No one can copy them. And make sure that you do them so well, you yasha them, so that your customer comes again and again. And if they go, I can assure you they'll tell 10 others to come to you. So your products and services must be excellent, impeccable, world-class standard. If you're talking about certification, TQM, and all these things, all those things must be factored into your system so that when you churn out a product, it will be superb. A few days ago, I got on a bus from Lusaka to Mongo by mistake, and I thought that was one of the good buses, but by bitter experience or by realization, I discovered it was one of those buses which had the worst customer relations. And it had no fixed time, you couldn't tell and so forth what time it would leave. And I sat on that bus, dear friends, for 4 hours. 4 frustrating long hours. And I kept walking out on the bus and back and saying, when are we leaving? They said, no, we'll go anytime, darling, don't worry, and so forth. And they didn't even seem concerned. So in the end, I got so frustrated. And I got out of the bus and I told him, could you give me back my money? He says, I've already bought. He even looked elsewhere. And you know what I said? I will never get on this bus again. And shockingly, the man was not even moved, not even affected. He was even looking elsewhere. So what I did, I got my katundu and I went. And you know what I've done? I have vowed never to get on that bus. And you know what I'm doing also? I'm telling 10 others, 20 others, that bus, you get on it at your own risk. But in a strategic society, in a market economy rather, that bus service, I don't see it surviving. I've seen many buses come and go, and that one is going to the corporate graveyard very soon. Started off with a bang, but now it's fizzling out. Treat your customers as king. Do your products perfectly and treat them very well. But also, it may also, if you're going to beat your enemy, make sure you know them very well, know their strengths and their weaknesses, their pattern of movement and attack, as it were, and know all the possible things that they would do, and keep that information in your database and ensure that you move in such a way that you counter their strategy. If they come this way, you come the other way. If they come that way, you come the other way. But also, ensure that you know you have multiple strategies. That's another way. Have multiple strategies. Have a backup strategy, backup plan. If we use this strategy and somebody hits it, we'll come the other way. If he comes this way, we'll come the other way. We must have a backup strategy. But also, sometimes it may be prudent to use what you call the indirect route. Instead of going straight, bam, and you hit the mark, you decide to use a vector. You go that way, and then you go that way. And yet you have maintained the objective. But another way is deliberately move slower than your enemy. Let them go in and survey the market, do the market research, give all the information and so forth. What you do is you just come because you've done most of the work and refine their work and have minimum errors, and you will win. But also the other strategy is that you may need also to, in a sense, enter strategic alliances. Instead of competing all the time as we know it in the business world, enter strategic alliances with them and agree and say, look, this market, both of us are interested. You go there, say, I'll go that way. And things like that. The market is enough, we don't need to fight. And you can build strong alliances with other competitors. But there could be other ways that you can look at strategy. But the bottom line is that know what you want to do exactly from the beginning. Don't just plunge into something. Know exactly, and then you go in. You hurl yourself inside with all your energy, with all your strength, and resolve not to settle for anything less. But the last strategy, or the last thing that I would like to say, is that build a team, community kind of culture in your organization. People that have the same goal, same passion, same idea, and people who long to see the organization and identify with the objectives of the organization. If you have the wrong leadership, then you're in trouble. I think that's one of the reasons Zambia remains where it is, with all the resources, uranium, gold, diamonds, copper, silver, iron, abundant land resources, the rivers, the relatively unpolluted environment, population, and name it. We have every advantage, and yet we remain poor. It's a paradox, as somebody has said, that we are in a land of plenty, teeming with milk and honey, and yet we go to bed hungry. Well, friends, we have just scratched on the surface to look at some of the strategies, tactics that will help us. We'll go in the last session, or in the next session, look at the challenges, and lastly we shall look at strategy in the future. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to meet with us. Stay with us again, dear friends, as we continue in our discourse.